कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। Manthara, upon understanding from some of her sources, reliable sources, who are those sources? The subjects in Ayodhya, that Rama was to be coronated, she immediately reached the Antahpuram of Kaikeyi. She expressed her anguish to Kaikeyi, while Kaikeyi in return was extremely elated, happy to understand that Rama will be the heir apparent, Yuvaraja. So she even gifted a necklace to Manthara, which Manthara outright denied. She did not accept that necklace. She in fact felt very dejected that Kaikeyi was not dejected upon listening to this news. We also analyzed as to what was the difference in the love showered by Kaushalya, who had birthed Rama, and Kaikeyi, who had nurtured Rama. Now, why this much of unwarranted, reasonless anger and vengeance by Manthara on Rama? There should be a reason. Besides this Adikavyam, Srimad Ramayanam, Valmiki Ramayanam, we also have other translations and transcreations of Ramayanam. They have given a reason as to why Manthara was extremely upset with Rama. It is said during Rama's childhood days, Manthara used to keep coming to Ayodhya. Ayodhya is in the current Uttar Pradesh. Manthara was the one who nurtured Kaikeyi. She was a maid servant in Kaikeyi's house who had nurtured Kaikeyi. So she lived in Kekeya Desha, which I have told you before, the geography, some parts of Pakistan and large parts of Afghanistan. So she used to travel. For her, walking or traveling was not a very big issue. She used to travel to Ayodhya, visit Kaikeyi, convey her wishes and blessings, and then used to leave. Yes, Manthara was not a very straightforward woman. She was crooked in her thoughts. But situation also made her all the more crooked, is what some of the sources cite. It is said that Rama, along with his brothers, Balyat Prabhriti Susnigdhaha, that attachment amongst the brothers was so much that as they used to learn from Vasishtha Maharshi archery, Dhanur Vidya, they used to practice. See, children who learn music will keep humming, children who learn dancing will keep tapping their feet. Similarly, children who are learning archery would keep playing with bows and arrows. So as little boys, barely the age of 8-9, Rama, along with his brothers, Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, used to hold the bow, used to hold the arrow, fit the arrow into the bow, and towards the end of the arrow, they used to put mud balls. You know those clay balls? They used to attach those clay balls to the end of those arrows and used to keep aiming on the people around them. When a mud ball hits you, clay ball hits you, when it is done very playfully, when it hits you, you will actually have a tickling feeling. You will feel very ticklish about it. Somebody is tickling you. So he used to keep playing on the subjects, and the subjects were loving Rama to such an extent that they used to keep waiting when the mud balls used to fall on them. On the contrary, Manthara was a hunchbacked woman. Vakra means there is a hunch. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we come across a character in Mathura called as Trivakra or Aneka Vakra. She had many hunches. Manthara here also used to have a hunch. So her head used to be bent and the back used to go to the top, and there used to be a hunch. So thereby she could never look to the top. She used to struggle to walk, but for her, traveling to Ayodhya was not a very big pain because she had the pleasure of seeing Kaikeyi and her son. As she entered Ayodhya once, it is said that Rama, who was playing along with his brothers or to the subjects, used that mud ball to hit on the hunch of Manthara. So every citizen would have that ticklish feeling. So they expected the same feeling to come into Manthara. So as she felt tickled, for a moment that hunch would go in and she would be straight. And then she used to be back to the hunch. And again the mud ball used to fall from Bharata's arrow and she used to become straight. Again she used to go back to the hunch. And then Lakshmana used to throw that arrow with the mud ball again. Again she used to be straight. And again that would go back to the hunch. So this process of her losing the hunch, becoming a hunchback woman in a rhythmic fashion, used to bring a giggle to the boys' faces. I am no way telling this is a right act, but this is an act of the children. You can call it a mischievous act that needs to be punished or they have to be reprimanded. But what happened with Manthara? Manthara felt this was a huge blot in her life. She felt that she was humiliated, insulted for being a handicapped woman. Look at the way she has assumed that situation. So from that day, though the other brothers also hit that mud ball on her, for her that was not the concern. Rama began this act. So I will ensure that one day he is deprived of his rights, was her pledge. Wow. Who says this? You know, in the south of India, during the Bhakti movement, we had saints who sang chaste verses in Tamil language on Paramatma. They were referred to by a term called the Arars. Arars means those who are immersed, submerged in devotion. They were primarily 12 in number, 11 men, the 12th was a woman. She is a very famous mystic Tamil poetess, known largely across the country and even Southeast Asia. Her name is Andal. She is like the Mirabai of the south. Meera is like the Andal of the north. Amongst the Alvars, one of the Alvars called as Malisai Alvar. In Sanskritam, his name was Bhaktisara. Bhaktisara states, Kondai konda kodai meedu ten ulavu kuni kun. Undai kondaranga votti ul magilda nadanur. Kondai konda kodai. He describes Manthara. She is a woman. Kondai konda kodai. She had a huge bun. I am sure my fellow Rasikas will be able to relate to it. Around the 1960s, 70s, there was a fashion amongst the actresses that they should have a bun like hairdress at the top. It used to look like a bun. So this woman called Manthara also had decked up her hair like a bun at the top. And over that bun, there were newly blossomed flowers that were kept around. And over those flowers, bees were hovering and buzzing. So imagine a woman with a bun-like hair arrangement, over that flowers, over that bees. Kondai konda kodai meedu ten ulavu kuni. Who is this woman? She already has another bun at the back. So from a distance, if you look at Manthara, it will seem that there are two hunches. One in her back and one on top her head, the bun-like arrangement. So she used to look like a two-humped camel. Camels generally have one hump, but there is one variety, species called the Bactrian camel. This Bactrian camel has two humps. Kondai konda kodai medu tenvulavu koni kun. So this lady who was called Manthara, since she used to have a hunch, the hunch in the South Indian language is called koon. Since she had the koon, she is called Kuni. So Manthara is also referred to as Kuni in the south. Kondai konda kodai meedu tenvulavu Kuni kun. This is that lady. When Rama used to hit those mud balls, Undai konda ranga otti ulmagilda nadanur. Rama along with his brothers giggled. This caused a huge humiliation in the mind of Manthara. Later, it is said that Rama too repented this act. See, generally our acts of the present, we won't be concerned about it now. Years later, we will be worrying, why did I do that? How could I have done such a foolish act? We all keep thinking of it later. Nevertheless, Rama repents later. When he loses Sita, when she is abducted, he now repents. He now starts feeling, what act of mine could have led me to suffer like this? Then he understands, I shouldn't have humiliated my maidservant like that. I should have treated her with respect. Though it was that age where children may not know the good and the evil, I should have been more mature. He thinks that way. So it's always important to never commit a mistake. And the second thing is, if you have committed, to seek remorse for that mistake. Rama tried avoiding doing mistakes, but this act he repents. In fact, in Yaksha Prashnam, which comes in Mahabharata, Yaksha puts forth 124 questions to Dharmaraja or Yudhishthira. In those questions list, in that rigmarole of questions, there is one question. Who should be respected? The answer could be one's mother, father, guests. That time, Yudhishthira also includes the maid servant, Bhritya. So, whoever is a servant, he or she, whoever serves the house, you must first respect. Teach your children how to respect such maid servants. You can have an altercation, you can have an argument, but at no point in time you should feel that you are superior, that person is inferior. Just because that person is working for you and you are paying that person, it doesn't mean that person is subservient to you. Treat them with respect. So this act of Rama, of course, brought a huge humiliation. But was it necessary for Manthara to stop the coronation of Rama? Not a necessary, good enough a reason. Imagine, I go to one of my friend's house. My friend and his wife, they have delivered a child. A girl baby, very cute to look at. They give me that baby. I start pampering that baby. I shower my blessings on that little girl. And as I keep pampering that little girl, those tender, rose petal-like feet, they kick my chest. Small feet, they kick my chest. I give back that baby to the parents, and the girl has matured into a very well-educated, a very, very independent thinking, a very responsible citizen to the country. At the age of, say, 22 or 23, she has chosen a partner, and my friend is inviting me, stating that my daughter is getting married. Please come to that marriage. I go to that marriage. Instead of attending that marriage, blessing that girl, I say, stop the marriage. Then people will come and ask, why are you asking to stop the marriage? There is a valid reason why I am telling this girl should not be married. People ask me around, what is that valid reason? When she was a 20-day-old baby, she kicked my chest. Is this a good enough a reason? 20-year-old baby is kicking my chest, and when she is 22, 23 years old, I am asking them to stop the marriage because she kicked my chest. Same is the reason what Manthara states. As a little boy, along with his brothers, if he has hit on mud balls, you should have either corrected him then and there, reprimanded him, or later reminded to him that you are going to become a higher apparent, treat your citizens well. This advice could have been given. But instead, she is using this reason to stop Rama's coronation. This is where vengeance becomes a huge bane to our country. We should not revenge or take revenge on any of our neighboring countries for our bad acts. Of course, If there is a question, safety threat to our territorial integrity, then we must fight as Kshatriyas. But at no point in time we should curse our neighboring countries or even our neighbors. This is not the act of a perfect Hindu. But was she a Hindu that way? That is why she has come from those territories of Afghanistan. So Manthara is true to her territorial guna psychology. Now she uses this as a reason to stop. But remember, she has the intent to stop Rama's coronation. But has she succeeded in brainwashing Kaikeyi? We'll have to see how she brainwashes in the next episode.
Dear Astika reader, I'm happy to be authoring a 2-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.